Welcome back. Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television. I am Adanna Combie, and we continue conversations this morning. We're staying with carnival, culture, and all things Trinidad and Tobago. And we're going to head on into a conversation with Elizabeth Lady Montano, author and mother of one of our greatest soca legends of Trinidad and Tobago. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you very much. I am very happy to be talking to Tobago this morning.
And we are so happy to have you with us this morning. First and foremost, let me just say congratulations to you, not just on your book, but also on the work that you have done throughout the years, ensuring that Soca is in good hands. You have worked tirelessly, so I have to give you your roses right now. I have to give them to you and say congratulations to you and thank you so much for all the hard work that you have done so far and that you continue to do.
Thank you very much for the compliment.
Right. And so we're going to get into it. You have nurtured one of the greatest soca artists ever. All right. And I mean, coming up from a young child, starting off in Calypso and branching off to soca. I want to get into what life was like in your home in terms of having to balance being a mother, ensuring that the education part was done, and also encouraging and supporting the love for the culture and ensuring that the opportunities were, once they were available, that your son was able to, of course, maximize those opportunities. How were you able to balance that? Plus, being a mother and a wife, how were you able to balance all of that?
Well, luckily for me, my husband Monty was also instrumental in that nurturing. We have just one more son, so that we were able to spend enough time with both. And also, since Monty and I were teachers, education was very important in that development of our kids. So more or less, it was easy. We had two kids who were 2 years apart, so it wasn't that difficult. And as I said, being a teacher, you know how to deal with things like this. And I suppose, to my background, my mother was working and she had two kids and we survived. And I think that whole background into where you came from is what kind of gave us that impetus to do the same and to be successful at what we do.
Right. And having being in the spotlight for all of these years, how do you remain, yes, in the spotlight, in the background, but still in the spotlight? How did you remain grounded and ensure that, listen, though we are climbing, because I know it took some time to get to where you are, you had to put in the work. How did you remain grounded throughout the years while all the demands were being, sent your way, sent your son's way, your family's way? How did you guys stay together as a family and remember, kind of kept the focus as to what is important at the end of the day?
I think the important thing here was that we came from humble beginnings. That's the first word, Monty and I. Monty was from Deep South and I was from Caranage. So that we lived a very simple life as young people. And we also knew that education was important and that hard work. And I think what also contributed, we were young adults during the time of Black Power, and the certain values that were being taught to us as a people. I think we took that and ran with it and remain grounded and remain committed, one, not only to ourselves and our family, but committed to our nation and to our culture.
Miss Montano, I just want to carry it back a little bit. I know that your son would have started performing at a very young age. Just tell us how you all came about to realize that Marshall had this very special talent. At what age did you all realize he had this very special talent that you all could really develop and nurture?
Well, I observed this at the age of 5. Marshall was 5. How this happened, we really lived in North at the time, Port of Spain. And then we moved to Superior. And on moving to Superior, we always believed too in extracurricular activities. So I took my big son to Ashford Joseph Music School, and he was learning how to play the guitar. But then Ashford wanted him to play the guitar and sing at the same time. And he was 7. and he was finding it difficult to do the two things together. But then he incorporated his brother, who was 5. And strange enough, what Marshall did at that time was they used to have cassettes at the time. Nothing else existed at the time but cassette tapes. And he would tape the singing that he was doing and his brother playing the guitar, and he would bring it for us to hear. So one day in one of those recordings, I said to my husband, but this child has a good voice, and then I took him to the same music teacher, Ashford Joseph, and that was in 1982 when he was 7. And then he started to sing calypso and get into the competitions, and he went to 12 and under, and then he went to the junior monarch, and then I realized, well, this child definitely has something that is special and that is natural, because we never taught him anything. Monty and I don't really have any musical background, but he just took it. So he was engineer, he was the artist, he was the host, because they will put on that show Antique. And they ran the whole show, and Marshall recorded it and did everything. Eventually, he became an engineer and producer by profession, which he studied abroad. And one thing just led to the next.
Ah, that's absolutely amazing. And having been on the entire journey, I'm sure you have so many stories that you can tell, so many experiences, bringing up a young child star and now seeing your son dominating soca, not just in Trinidad and Tobago where he's from, but seeing that he's making soca so attractive across the globe. The man has gone to India, Africa, different continents, and ensuring that the culture and soca remains relevant. More than that, seeing that he is also encouraging and inspiring others to keep the art form alive. And so you have been there for that entire thing. What I admire about you, Mrs. Montano, is you could have written a story about your experiences. You could have written a book about the mother of. But this book that we're celebrating today, you so humbly wrote it about your son. The book is entitled The King of Soca. You decided to write this about your child, not about yourself and your experiences. And I must honor you for that, of course, for giving that kind of respect to the art form and to the artist. Tell us a little bit about the idea behind writing a book about the King of Soca.
Well, first, that book is an adaptation of my thesis. I graduated in 2018 in my Master's of Philosophy in Cultural Studies. And what I did was the making of Monk Monty, which was really a Machel. And but that book was very academic. The thesis, I mean, was very academic, and I wanted to share it with the person on the street, with the young entertainers, with young people, with people who are striving to do their best, but who don't have an idea how to go about it. So I said that in that form, I couldn't present it because I couldn't put the pictures and the stories and the color that I wanted to bring to that book. So I decided, okay, I'm going to write a book. And then in when we had the pandemic, the opportunity came. And I did that in 2020 to 2022. I took the time to write the book. But there's Mr. Ainsley King. Hello, Mr. King. I'm seeing Mr. King. As Mr. King came on, I also wanted to say, I know you're saying about soca, but I also wanted to started in calypso. He went to soca and then he went back to calypso. So if you notice that in 2024, Marshall made a re-entry into the calypso arena, and he did so successfully. And what I see coming out of that is a lot of young people this year going into calypso, and I think that is a great, great done for our culture. But that book, again, getting back to the book, I think that young people, even the seasoned artists, could look at it. It covers four, 4 decades of a journey that was not a straight road at all. Because I looked at it, the good, the bad, the ugly, and I told it as it was so that people can really tune into it and see what really takes place, especially when you work hard, sacrifice, and you contribute to your culture.
And that's leading to my next question. I was actually going to be talking about is 4 decades being in the industry, and of course, it would not come without its challenges. I'm certain that there were a lot of things that you had to struggle through to get to where you are now, and even as you continue. When I say you, I mean the entity which is Monty. The whole village that came together to create Marshall Montano, and I know it wasn't without issues, struggles, challenges getting there. How did you identify the challenges, and how did you identify the ways to overcome the challenges to remain relevant?
Well, one of the things I learned as a child is that if you are faced with something, as long as you can do something about it, then do it. So that when people talk about obstacles and challenges, I have never taken it like that. And I brought up my children the same way. So therefore, that if we are faced with something, we work together as a group, as a family, as an organization, and we get to the root of it and we come up with a solution. And one of the values that we taught our kids and even the young ones that we influence is resilience. Never feel that you must succeed at everything. All you have to do is, once you are done, you look for a way to make sure that you get out of that. And we have done so successfully because we have had a very strong support system so that our kids and the kids that work around us, they didn't have to look far. We were always right there. So that I think that some people who don't succeed, they don't have that support system. So we were able always, if I can't do it, then we would have somebody around who can help. And I think we sort of did that through, again, those values of hard work, of sacrifice, of sharing, of loving your own, and that I'm telling you, your input equals your output. So that what you put in is what you will get out, and we just work and work hard, and then we reap the success. And I think this is how I never really thought of anything as a problem. If I'm faced with something, bam, you could bet on me to jump right into action. And I think that our whole organization is like that.
Mrs. Montano, now we spoke about the 4 decades of success. And we know that throughout the decades, Mr. Montano would have really pushed and innovated soca and drive soca forward and a lot of the times. Just speak from the perspective of the organization in terms of driving soca forward. Was that always the ethos of the organization, or was it something that you all took as it came along?
Well, one of Michelle's vision was always to give the best of himself and to take soca music to the corners of the globe. And to do that, he wanted to collaborate with people and work and be innovative. And he has continued that over the years. And if you look at his trend, it is always to collaborate with people, work with people, assist people, and always like he would not do anything by himself, but work towards achieving something for the better of the nation with the aim and drive to take it to the corners of the globe. So he believed in things like unity. He believed in things like, as I said, working together and trying everything he does. He tries to bring it not just to home, but send it out to the world. So I think that living by that vision is what drives us, that being your best self and then taking soca to the corners of the globe. And I think he has succeeded.
And you know, I just want to piggyback off of what you said. When you look at some of the collaborations that he did with different artists who are sing different genres of music, introducing soca into different genres, kind of creating a hybrid genre, but ensuring that soca also got its place. We saw that happening with some of the collaborations he did. So I can see what you're saying there, ensuring that soca gets to every corner of the earth. You know, I wish we had more time to continue our conversation this morning. But before we go, I want to know what is next for Lady Montano. What is next for you?
Lady Montano. Well, maybe I might do my memoirs, but what I'm doing now is I'm preparing for succession and for when I transition, that everything is in place. So recently, well, I have also collected 4 decades of Michelle's, archive, where I kept almost everything over the 4 decades. We have the diaper, we have all the costumes, we have all the songs, all the music, all the certificates, everything. And just last week, we had the launch of the inscription of Michelle's archive, which was inscribed by UNESCO. And it is there where, at our office in Port of Spain, where people could call in, make an appointment, and view and share and maybe research things on Michelle for 4 decades, so that they could look at things like pictures, they could look at the lyrics, they could look at music, they could look at videos, they could look at the movies, they could look at anything that they are interested in with Michelle's career will be found in that archive, and it's available now for the public to access. Right. So these are the things I'm doing. I'm trying to make sure that when I move on, that everything is in place and I don't leave it, to just go to waste or not serve the purpose that it was intended to serve.
That's right. That's right. And I must commend you for that, because sometimes we create a legacy and then it just ends when we end. So I like the fact that you're thinking about how do I preserve this and ensure that generations after can, celebrate it as well, can be educated by it, can understand it, and also benefit from it. That's right. That's right. So many, many, many congratulations to you. Thank you so much, as I mentioned earlier, for all the work that you put in. Thank you so much for the work that you continue to do. And thank you for your vision as you continue to support the art form, as you continue to support soca, as you continue to support the greatest legend of Trinidad and Tobago where soca is concerned. We thank you so very much. We wish you the very best, and can't wait to get my hands on your book to read and to see, your vision coming alive on pages. King of Soca. I can't wait to go through it, and I feel as if the culture will just pop out at me when I open the book. I'm waiting to get that type of experience as well. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and all the best to you as well. All right.
Thank you very much. Before we go, you can send me a number and a place where I could send you a copy.
Certainly. Thank you so much.
An autographed copy.
I appreciate you so much for that. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been speaking with Elizabeth Lady Montano, the mother of Machel Montano, and can I say the mother of soca, the soca that we've enjoyed for the past 40 years and more here in Trinidad and Tobago, bringing up one of our very young soca artists from Calypso to soca. Akinlabi, what are some of your memorable moments with Machel? What was your induction with Machel Montano?
I think for me, one of the things I remember most about Machel is when he sang with Shaggy.
Right.
In the 90s, the collaborations that he did in the late 90s, starting to really innovate soca in a way that most people never heard of it before, And I think that's when I really started to pay attention to Machel, because I was a young boy, a little boy back in the late 90s. But I really started to pay attention to Machel Montano and soca music on a whole because of the kind of collaborations that he was doing coming into the new millennium.
For me, I mean, that is very, very, the fact that you captured that at that time of your age, for me is actually the very beginning and then the middle. The very beginning when he came out with They Say I'm Too Young to Soca, I don't know why that did something for me as a little child growing up. I just don't understand even till now, but it's still till now, I still feel connected to that They Say I'm Too Young to Soca. And then I remember when I was living in the UK, working for an events company, and Machel took the stage at the Notting Hill Carnival. And his band, I mean, it was taking a while for the vibes to build. And one of his members was saying, I find the crowd. And Marshall was like, we don't do that. Well, he didn't say the words, we don't do that. He just said, took the mic, came to the front, and the crowd was just, so he has that command of how to get the crowd moving without saying, lift your hand, wave your flag, without doing that, just his presence and what he brings to the stage. For me, I was in awe, and I'm trying to figure out, how do I do that in general? How do our other artists do that in any field, not just in soca or in entertainment? How do you get your crowd, your audience to be in awe when you take the stage? And Marshall has that magic to him, and I wish other entertainers would, kind of learn. I hope that could be preserved and that could be handed down generation by generation, so we could get that kind of magic as well. Because we're wonderful people, we have our own magic, but if you could connect with somebody else's, I think it's absolutely amazing.
But I think those insights might be in the book as well. So if persons want that kind of insight, they could go and purchase the book and learn something.
That's right. Well, Akinlabi, this is where we have to end the morning show. But guys, we have to remind you, 7 p.m. tonight, it's happening at Parade Grounds there in Bacalet. Yes. What am I talking about, Akinlabi? Interdepartment. That's right. And we already know who you're backing. We know that you two might be backing somebody else. And we saw all the comments coming in on our Facebook live stream. And we thank you so much for the Green Army. We thank you for the white people. We thank you for, I think I saw Health Posse coming in as well. So, we look forward to see what is happening there tonight. And we do hope that you buy a ticket. If you don't have it yet, you better run quick, because I'm not sure if there's any left. It's going to be an amazing time. So do come out and support your crew, support your posse. It's happening tonight, 7 p.m. Parade Grounds, and we're bringing it to you live right here at Tobago Updates Television. This is where we end the morning show, but it's not where we end our programming. We head on over to GMT, that is Good Morning Tobago, and we do hope you could stay with us. And as you do, we invite you to help us. Share the live, share the live, share the live.